How's it going? Captain Coach here, and this is going to be a different style video than the ones I normally make because NetEase just released a video on the ranked matchmaking for Marvel Rivals, a topic that I think the community has been pretty up in arms about pretty much since the game's release, but especially lately, a lot of complaints about the matchmaking in the game, and they go over it in the video. So I wanted to get this out quickly to you and really tell you guys why what they discussed in their video is a lot worse than you think. And we're not going to do a full reaction to the video. I'm just going to give you my thoughts, and we'll probably just play some gameplay over my talking. But in the video, they explained their matchmaking and assure Marvel Rivals players that EOMM, or Engagement Optimized Matchmaking, is not used in their game. Most of what they covered is pretty common sense. Matchmaking's based off your region, how close you are in ranked to other players. But the most striking announcement was that not only the amount of points you gain and lose after a match is weighted against other players playing the same hero as you, meaning if you were a Diamond 1 Hulk player and had a certain amount of damage, if it was less than another Diamond 1 Hulk player's damage, then if the outcome of the game was the same, the Hulk who did more damage, among other stats, would get more points than you. But it is also confirmed that that value is weighted against other players on your own team. And I have so many issues with this, so we'll get into it here. First and foremost, Marvel Rivals is a 6v6 game. It's about playing around and winning objectives with a reward system that, to our knowledge, has no way to track player score in relation to that. But also, there's no way to find any relation or nuance between those two things. Let me give you an example. So, take a Spider-Man player. Let's say it's the last team fight of a game. He uses his pull ability to interrupt a Doctor Strange ult, pull him into his team. He dies, and your team wins the game off a play where he essentially did 0 damage. We're going to use damage as an example here because it's just the easiest stat to kind of talk about, right? But there's other stats too, obviously. This is just an example. So effectively, Spider-Man makes a play that saves his entire team and wins his team the game. So how does this system account for this? Let's say there's a different Spider-Man who went through the same fight, did some damage on their healers, hitting a person here, hitting a person there, but doesn't really do anything important, like killing anybody or interrupting a ult that will kill his whole team. Let's say, the Strange goes in for that ult, Spider-Man doesn't stop it, and okay, Spider-Man's Luna pops a support ult, they win the fight anyway. The outcome of the game is the same. And, oh, by the way, the Spider-Man racked up 1,500 damage in the fight with a few pointless stuns that, according to this system, he's going to get to a higher rank than the same Spider-Man who made the game-winning play and helped everyone on his team. And that right there is the heart of the issue, but it gets worse. Okay, so if a system rewards bad players more than good players, even a little, it's not a system that really ever belongs in an online competitive game if it's serious about competitive integrity, right? And you can think of a ton of examples for this. I mean, there's just about one for every character. I'll give one more, just, like Hulk, for instance. Body blocking projectiles for his team. Hulk takes more damage so his team can heal and stay alive. Eating an ultimate, demeching yourself to eat an ultimate that saves your entire team. Dying on point to stall an objective is another example how you can effectively be selfless and get less stats for it and get punished for it. These are all things that effectively will make you lower on stats but increase your team's chance to win, and would also enable your team to get better stats relative not only to their score they normally get, but against you who's sacrificing your stats. So because you're doing a play that's going to be selfless and win your team the game, you get punished for it, and they get rewarded for it. That is why over a longer season, the game quality gets worse and worse. It seems to deteriorate. We all feel it. We all know it. And I would argue it has not only deteriorated within each season, but over the seasons, right? But it gets worse. What about filling? Why would anyone want to play a role other than their main role if they knew they were going to get lower points because it's weighted against someone who plays the hero they're on? The hero they're filling as. Why would anyone want to fill? And you could argue it's like, okay, well, maybe we don't know about this system that exists in the game. But over a long enough period of time, people are going to notice that kind of stuff. Oh, I'm getting less points? Well, yeah, I'm not going to do that anymore. How many points did you get, dude? Oh, I got plus 23. Really? I only got plus 17. Maybe you should stop playing Rocket and just play your main. Right? So, this also means that this system discourages players from filling in their games, which over a long period of time has, in my opinion, absolutely gotten worse. Like the people who are willing to fill, I just don't see them anymore. And the game has further deteriorated in quality, and let me know in the comments if you disagree. But it gets worse. Are we all following me here? So there are now two instances that we have found that effectively the system in this game rewards selfish behavior in a team game. Okay? So now we couple it in with Ziyong says that if matchmaking takes too long, the restrictions are loosened and it allows you to match with players of a wider ranks. That's fine. That's fine. At a certain point, I think you have to prioritize player retention a little bit. Although technically, making the queues faster for better player retention at the cost of matchmaking, that's literally the definition of EOMM. But I think in this instance, it's pretty universally agreed upon. Yeah, no one wants to sit in a 15-minute queue in lower ranks. In higher ranks, though, I would argue that that's pretty normal from most games that I've played. Like they're kind of admitting to EOMM and hoping everyone's just like, yeah, well, that makes sense. We shouldn't have to wait in a long queue if I play on only one server at 4 a.m. on a Tuesday at high rank. But it's like, yes, you should. You should have to wait a long time. Because when you get to high ranks in games, there aren't a lot of players to play against. That's the point. It's harder to find people because it's more competitive, right? Now, in lower rank, this isn't as big of a deal, but this is especially felt in higher rank. And every competitive game I've ever played is like this. And it's like, why? Well, because it's fair. Okay? Because it's fair. That's why the queues are long. So this is where it gets really bad. Now, listen to this here. If you have a system that can put performance-based rewards that are weighted against people who play the same heroes as you do in the same rank, but you are, because of the matchmaking I just described, going against players who are a full division below you or above you, we'll use below you in this example, you are going to farm more stats because in theory you should be better than the lower ranked players, thus skewing the stats and subsequently fucking over everyone on your team, everyone's points on your team due to no fault of their own. Not even if they played bad. Just simply because your weighted stats are going to be higher because you have less competition because their system decided, oh, we need these people to not log off of our game. Because that's why the matchmaking is so bad sometimes, right? Is because we can't find anybody. We don't want you to log off. So we're going to match you with some low-ranked people. So there are some very clear inconsistencies with this system, very clear discrepancies. Another way to word this is there are going to be games where you are matched against players who are much lower ranked than you, which, like, again, that's not something new. Like, that is a thing that will occasionally happen in any competitive game. But the problem is that due to their weighted point system and the way their rank curved works, which we'll talk about here in a second, you essentially are going to have an easier time gaining a certain amount of points relative to your teammates, which oftentimes feels like when you duo queue or back before trio queue, sometimes you would just get like no points for winning, right? You would just get none because it's already weighted against you because you're higher rank. It's too inconsistent. It's too exploitable. As much as players don't want to hear this, the only stat that should affect the points you gain or lose each game is winning. That's the only stat that should matter. That's it. And then obviously have measures in place for having point compensation for griefers and leavers, which, I mean, they added that. They're working on that. So I don't think NetEase has malevolent intent. They just want a ranked system that's going to keep players happy with their game, which is that's what's going to make them money, is not having people just hopelessly addicted. It's going to be what makes players happy. So they're going to hopefully, like, maybe they'll see this video and realize that performance-based matchmaking is toxic to the game because it just encourages bad players and selfish players to climb to any rank. Their rank system is absolutely terrible. I mean, the only real pros to having a rewards-based results system is that it encourages players to try harder, especially in losses. But due to the nuance and the complexity of many of the games, like, what does that really mean? Like, there's been no discussion about the placements or why the rank curve feels like you can just grind out a ton of games and climb. You just pile all these things up, and you have a ranked system where genuinely bad players can climb to effectively whatever rank they want. But let me know what you think and what solutions you think they could implement. I think for me, performance rewards has got to go. I mean, this alone would fix a lot of the problems, along with the full rank reset, those two together. Then we could talk about adding placement matches. The Chrono Shield thing is just silly. I don't know why that's a thing. Like, you could just have people gain less points and not have the Chrono Shield. It's just cosmetic. I don't know really why something like that's in the game. It just feels deceptive. It just doesn't make sense why there's not a more straight linear curve and why it feels like they just kind of shoot you up to higher ranks really quickly. Then maybe just demote less. But yeah, in between seasons, that is, like demoting divisions. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. This was just kind of a rant that I really just wanted to get that out there, and let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next one.